Okay, now that we've got this section subdivided, we're ready to take a look at the legal description and to try to draw in the property line from that legal description and create points on the corners of that property. So I'm going to close tool space to have a little bit more room to work, and I'm going to open up the legal description here. Okay. So our legal description reads, a part of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter. So in our drawing, here's the section, and the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter, you can do this a little bit easier by reading it backwards. So you've got the southwest quarter first, southwest quarter of the whole section, and then the southeast quarter of that southwest quarter. So this is the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of the section. And we're looking for the northwest corner, so that's the northwest corner. So I'm going to go ahead and create a point at that corner. And point description I'm going to call PC. And the point elevation I want to make 0 because it's a calculated point. I want to make sure my calculated points all show 0 elevation so they're easily identifiable. You want an elevation on shot in the field, but not necessarily on calculated corners. Okay, so let's go back to our legal description. What does it say next? It says, beginning at the northwest corner of said C south, thence north 87 degrees 58 minutes 11 seconds east along the north line of the C south, a distance of 445.48 feet. Okay, so normally when given a legal description, unless you wrote the legal description in a previous survey, your bearings are not going to match those of the legal description. So whoever wrote this legal description went out, shot their corners for the section, subdivided it, and came up with bearings that are very likely different from your bearings because of just normal change in shots, whether it was just a small amount off, it's going to be seconds off at least. But you could have shot different corners for the section corners. So anyways, those bearings will probably be different. So what you would normally have to do is go in and draw the legal description in and then rotate it to that line because it says along the north line of the C south. So this property is going to start at this corner and go along this line a distance of 445.48 feet. But in this legal description, we are given the bearing. Now, because I wrote this legal description, it's a made-up legal description, it is not an actual property, then I use the actual bearings of our section subdivision. So your bearing should match that bearing listed in the legal description along this line. So we're going to go ahead and go along that line, 8758.11, a distance of 445.48. So let's go ahead and use our new survey point creation tool to go that bearing and distance, 8758.11. Okay, so we're going to go over here to this bearing distance tool. Remember, we're still in that create points command. And we're going to be in this quadrant because it's northeast. And let me check it one more time. 8758.11. So the bearing is 87D 58 minutes 11 seconds. And the distance 445.48. 445.48. And inner point description is PC, point elevation 0. And now we have a new point. I'm going to escape out of that command. And now you can zoom in and look. You can tell that it is basically on that line. Okay, to find out whether or not this point is on that line or how close it is to that line, you can do an inquiry of the distance, measures between 2 points or along a polyline. But in order to use this command, these have to be in the same plane in order to get the distance between this point perpendicular to that point. So we're going to go here and change the elevation of this point. Start Z to 0 and the NZ. That's the Z is the elevation vector. So we change that elevation of that line to 0, and now we're going to do a distance inquiry. That's what this little button here is, from this point, and we're going to go perpendicular. Oops, try that again. From this point, perpendicular to this line. And you can see it gives you some options here. It first gives you the distance, which is 1/1000th. And you could change and find the volume, area, angle, radius, and distance here using that same tool. But we're at 1/1000th. I think that's sufficient enough. Okay, so let's zoom back out. And let's continue along our property legal description and go around the property. Okay, so we've stopped here at 445.48 feet. Then we need to go south 4243.19 east. And these are bearings. So we're going to go another bearing. Oh, we have to be creating a point. And we want to go bearing and distance. It says select start point. So 4 is going to be our start point. The next quadrant is southeast, so quadrant 2, and the bearing 4243.19. So type 42D, 43 minutes, 19 seconds, and the distance is 221.45. So you type in 221.45. Point description, PC, elevation, 0. Okay, and let's continue on. Let's go to the next one. Now we're going to go southwest, 2140.42. So back over in here, in the third quadrant, southwest, bearing 2140.42. So 21D, 40 minutes, 42 seconds. And the distance is going to be 353.10. So 353.10. Point description PC, hit enter, elevation 0, and now it wants to know the next point. The next call says thence northwest, so we're going to be in the fourth quadrant, a bearing and distance of 479.28 feet to a point on the west line of said sea-south. So we're going to go this certain bearing and distance to a point on this line. So let's start drawing. North 7112.14. So fourth quadrant, 71 degrees, 41 minutes, 14 seconds. Was that right? 41:14. 12:14. Sorry. Yeah, space. 12 minutes, 14 seconds. Enter. And then it's going to ask for a distance, 479.28. Enter. Point description PC, hit enter. Point elevation 0. Okay. Now we should be on that line. It appears to be on that line now. We could do the inquiry tool at this point if we're not sure. And let's look at the last call. then the last call says thence north 2055 west along said west line, a distance of 320.81 feet to the point of beginning. So that is really all the points that we need. We have all the points needed to draw in our legal description. So I'm going to escape out of the command. I'm going to go to the Home tab, change my layer to PL, and I'm going to draw my polyline starting at point 3. Actually, you can draw a line by point number range, but these will be divided segments, and I really want a polyline, so I'm going to create polyline from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 3. Right click to end. Okay, so that's our property. That's our property from the legal description.